In this video, I'm gonna show you how to play the Heartsteel, Ezreal and Zed duo carry comp. So this comp actually got nerfed this patch. Both Heartsteel as well as Zed got nerfed, but still it has actually improved in the average placement compared to the last patch. And this is by many pro players considered to be the best comp, in the game. But if we take a look at the stats, it's at a 4.5 average placement, which is not impressive compared to like Punk, who is average 4.0. But the reason for this comp having a bit lower average placement is because it's so contested. If you look at the play rate, it's a 0.7. Like in so many of my games, I have had like 3 other people contesting me, and you just wind up not hitting Zed, Ezreal, or any other key units. If we take a look at, for example, the average placement, if you end the game with a Ezreal, Zed, or Zac 1-star, you have approximately a 6 average placement. Meanwhile, if you 2-star NF these units, you have an average placement of 4.0, which is 2 places higher. So with that being said, if you're able to hit the board, hit your units, it's gonna be the best comp in the game, right? You also take a look at the win percent. It's probably the highest one in the game here at 14.3. So this is gonna be the core of the comp. We have Zac, Poppy, Yone, Zed, Bard, MF, Zed, and Ezreal. So basically Zed and Ezreal gonna be your duo carries. So you have one backliner and one AD melee carry. So there's basically 3 main components of items that you need in the comp. So the first one is gonna be anti-armor. So that's the best is an even shroud, but you can also go for last whisper or cleaver if you hit that. And the second component is gonna be anti-heal, which is usually a red buff on Ezreal. He has a ulti through anyone, so he procs that really easily. Or just go for a Sunfire that works as well if you don't hit a bunch of bows. And yeah, the last components is just having, a beefy tank, preferably Zac, but you can itemize Zed or Pop as well if you have them 2-starred and Zac 1-starred. And if we take a look at the items, I'm gonna begin with Zed right here, because this is just one important thing. Because this is referred to an AD flex comp. So if you wind up getting a bunch of rods, one of the best ways to kill the rod is by building a crown guard, because this is just a decent tank item. Another way to kill the rods is by building perhaps a gunblade on Zed, if you have like infinite bows. Or you can go for itemizing Ziggs or Kayn as another AP carry, but I'll get into that later. And if we take a look at Zed BIS, this is gonna be Edge of Night, it's gonna be Bloodthirster and Deathblade. You don't have to have exactly these items, but the thing is, why this is Edge of Night on Zed, it's basically he's a frontline melee, or not, he's a melee carry, right? Not frontline. So what it does, he drops aggro, one time in a fight, basically it gives him +1 life. So it's just the best item by far on him. And the second thing you really want on him is some kind of healing, whether it be Bloodthirster, Hodge, perhaps a Gunblade if you're low rolling a bit. And lastly, the last item you want is just raw damage by any sort. He scales really well with AD, so having just a random Deathblade or even a Styrex is definitely good on him. So if we take a look at Ezreal, it's a bit different. You could go like double IE and Giant Slayer. You could go 3 triple AD items if you don't hit these items, but this is considered to be the normal build on Ezreal. So it's blue buff, red buff, and then it's IE. I mean, Ezreal, he has 40 mana, so getting blue buff, it cranks down the mana for his cast by 25% down to 30. It's really big, he casts a lot, he gets that big last ulti on a lot easier and faster. And then, red buff, he has a lot of units, so you proc that burn, also gives him just bonus damage and some attack speed. Pretty decent, right? And Infinite Edge, you really want this ulti to do a lot of damage, and you know, IE makes it crit, so that's best on him. But you don't have to have these items. You can just go, you know, full AD. I have gone double IE Giant Slayer, and they use one shots as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the itemization. The hard part about this comp is, you know, getting to level 8, being healthy, as well as, you know, hitting your units even though you're contested. So I'm just gonna show you the 2 most common routes to get into this comp. So you basically have 2 options. First option is you get really strong, you have a good opener, you play whatever units you have, and you know, you slam, you know, red buff or bloodthirst or even shroud, the items you want in the comp, as on some random item holders. This is just a random opener I could think of. Perhaps you get a Bruiser Olaf headliner, it's really strong, paired with 3 pentakill, and just throw in a random Mosher as well. Like, you don't have to go for exactly this comp. The point I'm trying to get at is you can play a strong board and pivot into this comp. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is if you hit a, you know, perhaps you get a game start where you dropped a Yone early, or you dropped a Set early. You can go into Heartsteel, or if you hit a Heartsteel headliner like Sante Heartsteel or Aphelios Heartsteel, and then just fill out their sub traits. So perhaps you put in a Rapid Fire for Senna and, you know, Sentinel, and then you level up. You put in either your stronger units and traits, or you try to play 4-5 Heartsteel, and then at stage 4-1, 4-3, 4-5, you level up, you sell your headliner, and you go for the Heartsteel board. So this is typically the board you wanna aim for at level 8, but let's say you are able to go 9, or you find some 5 cost. I will show you typically what I do. So one thing you can do, let's say you're lucky and you hit the headliner Ezreal. Let's say you have Heartsteel. What you can do is either you drop Yone and you put in another unit, maybe you put in a Ziggs, or you can go to play 5 Heartsteel for 1 cash out. So then you just play +1 Heartsteel unit, whatever you find really, Aphelios, maybe even Arcane if you're lucky. But if you hit the big shot Ezreal, then what you can do is you can play actually 4 big shots. So you put in a random Yin, maybe you find a Square Shojin, a emo emblem on him, or blue buff. He really wants mana, so he's able to, you know, get his cast off really early. But most of the cases, I pretty much never hit Ezreal. It's so contested. So a really good way to play is if you get the Crowd Diver Zed. What you can do is you throw in +1 Crowd Diver. If you're unlucky, maybe you play like a +1 Kata. But in most cases, you are probably finding a random Kiana. Can play her, you know, like this. She just farms a lot of tank items here. If the enemy has the tank here, you want to position Kiana against the tank, so she farms items. And you play around that a bit more. And another really good thing is just to play, you know, +1 Yas. So you throw in, you know, a random Lucian if you find it, like this. And once you have hit your Heartsteel cash out, you know, and you want to go for strongest board, usually you sell off, let's say we have just a random EDM here. Yeah, so let's say we want to cap out our board. We hit Heartsteel, we want to get out of it. You can put in a random Lucian. You can sell Set for, you know, Ilawi. Wait, I spelled it wrong. All right, there we go. Throw in a random Ilawi, as well as, you know, this Lucian. I also dropped out of Yone, so we will still want Crowd Diver for Zed. So then we can throw in Kiana, because Crowd Diver gives him a lot of the damage, as well as CC on the backline. Usually a thing you can, you know, do as well is, you know, Bard is not doing that much damage. You have a random 2-star Bard. You can just throw him in the front line, just to make sure he dies before, you know, your important units like Ezreal. And the second important thing in this comp is positioning. You want Zed to, you know, run up on their carry, and you also want Even Shroud to be on the same units that Zed and Ezreal is targeting, so the enemies get shredded or sundered, I mean. They remove their armor, so you want to make sure your Even Shroud is on the same units as Zed and Ezreal is targeting, so you want to position like this. And you also want your strong tank to be in front of Zed, so the tank doesn't insta-die and they target Zed, so you want your itemized tank to be in front of Zed, so he's safe here, can run up and be unnoticed, you know. And that's pretty much it for the, you know, units and whatnot. Obviously, there's like tons of different ways to play this comp. You can, you know, if you don't hit something, you can throw in a random Ziggs. You get, you know, Dazzler Hyperpop works really well with Yas, get a lot of Yas value. And if you have a lot of AP items, you can throw them on Ziggs, or you can throw AP items on, you know, Arcane. Maybe you have like Heartsteel, Ezreal, so you have 2 out of 3 hearts. You just play Arcane carry and you get some random Heartsteel caches as well. So you have some, you know, random AP items on him. Then you can, you know, get rid of the AP items by playing, you know, the, you know, items on him. So you need to find a way to, you know, play around the board and play different units if you're not hitting Ezreal. Like, there's a lot of games where I only had like a 1-star Ezreal. I just played Kiana and Zed duo carry, for instance, because there's high chance you're just not gonna hit because it's so contested, right? And if we take a look at the augments of the comp, we have at the 2-1 you can play pretty much any combat augment that's good in the comp, like Vampirism. And this is really the only time you're able to play like you know, Econ augment or something like that. Like in this stage of the game, you're able to play like Shopping Spree, or what's it called? Give me 1 second, boys. What Doesn't Kill You, because let's say you're lose streaking with Heartsteel, you can play What Doesn't Kill You, it works together. But at stage 3-2 and 4-2, you kind of want to start winning, so at this stage of the game, you really only want to take combat augments. So Last Stand, Vampirism, Freaky Friday, You Have My Sword, Stationary Support. And the same story goes for 4-2. You know, you see the good augments are You Have My Sword, Dual Lotus, Martyr, just the raw combat strength augments that are good, right? But I will also show you a game of, you know, how to play it, because sure, looking at stats is good and all, but seeing a game played in action, you learn just as much. So let's get into it. So we're kicking this off. It's actually a game I played on stream here on YouTube. So why I'm kicking it off here at 3-1, basically what happened is my internet crashed for like an entire stage, or a few rounds at least. So I couldn't record in the middle of it, but that's fine. So in this game, I had the opener where I was just really strong. I was able to win streak early game, and I basically just slammed items that were into the Ezreal comp, because I was gonna transition into that. But let's look at these augments right here. I actually had a 7 win streak, so I usually don't want to take Last Stand here, but I actually realized is that yeah, I'm gonna lose my win streak here because I'm pretty strong, but you know, I'm not that strong. And since we're pivoting into the Ezreal board, if I'm able to get Last Stand here, I have a really high chance of going first, just hitting a Giga Cap board later, and I'm probably gonna lose my win streak here soon anyways, because, you know, I'm not that strong. So, the reason for why I slammed a Sterak's here is because I didn't have like BIS items to slam, and I needed to slam something. So I decided to slam a Sterak's. It's a pretty decent item on Zed. You know, perhaps it's not an Edge of Night or, you know, an Infinity Edge on Ezreal, but it's a decent item that will be able to, you know, help me get to, you know, stage 4 and level 8 being quite healthy and having econ. So sometimes you have to slam a bit subpar items, and that's totally fine. You can't agree, you know, too much, right? So on this carousel, I'm let's see, what am I looking at? You know, blue buff would be good since I have a tier, but I didn't hit that. So I decided to just go for the Echo. I get a 2-star, as well as he had a, you know, a belt component, so that's half Sunfire, so pretty good to ensure we get some sort of anti-heal. Was the best of the options I got since I was last pick. And yeah, as you see here, we're actually starting to lose our win streak, which was to be expected. So I'm just prioritizing econ here because I'm so healthy. So we're gonna slowly level up to level 8. And yeah, this guy actually had double Ginsu on Kale right here, so he's pretty strong. But actually, we actually beat him here. We got some nice crowd diver CC coming in, and the horse is gonna finish him off, so that's pretty good. So as you see at my first augment, I also took Spoils of War. That augment you only want to take if you're really strong, you're able to kill units, which I had a really good opener, so I was able to get value out of it. That's the only time you can play like econ augments is at the first augment. Just later on, as I mentioned previously, you really want to go for combat strength, which is why I took Last Stand there secondly. So now I got some pretty decent components. I'm able to slam my Edge of Night, which I really want on Zed, so I'm just gonna take that on Urgot for now. And since I had a Warmogs and I'm pretty squishy, I decided to slam Gargoyles for board strength. You got some good duo tank items going, makes me a lot tankier. Get a lot of resistances from Gargoyle, which just means I have a lot of effective HP from my Warmogs. Makes me really tanky. Onto this augment. Dual Lotus is really good. The only reason why I took Not Today here is because I already had an Edge of Night, and they had like a lot of backline access. So if I get a random Edge of Night on my Ezreal, he's gonna be able to survive, you know, a bit longer actually. So I decided to take that just to give him 35% attack speed as well. I figured let's try it, but Dual Lotus is usually the better choice there. So decided to take that. Boom. Gonna slam that on this random Ezreal. So he actually gets like the equivalent of the attack speed you get from building red buff. You see he has a lot of attack speed here actually, so otherwise you would never slam Edge of Night on Ezreal, I feel like, but in this case it's actually acceptable. And you see we're contested. This guy's also playing Heartsteel. He has 500 stacks. He's playing more of the Lose Streak variant, which is a good one as well. So I found a random Lucian here. You know, we're always playing Yas in this comp because we have so many traits, so we're gonna pick that up. We can't play him. Let's see. We could play him now, but it's a bit... We could take out like Sentinel, I guess, and play him. But we're gonna throw in this Poppy. Yeah, we took out the Mord, right? He's getting Yas pretty good. And the Lucian is pretty light as well. We have put in Poppy as well. It's gonna be a part of our final board. We're keeping this Echo for now because he's 2-starred. We need to have him on until we get like a Illaoi or we get a Sack or a Poppy too. As you see, I didn't hit anything on my roll down, which is the hard part about this comp is you know, hitting your units as you're so contested. So you're gonna see me playing a bunch of weird headliners because I'm not hitting anything, and this is really where the comp gets kind of hard, right? Because you get really dizzy, you're not hitting what you want to. Like, I'm hitting a bit of what I need, but I'm not getting 2 stars, so it's kind of awkward. You know, I keep rolling all of my gold here. Boom, hit a random Lucian too, but it's not gonna be stable because we need our carries to have the items right. But I found a Zed here, which is pretty decent. And since I didn't hit any headliner I wanted, I'm just gonna have to play this set for now to make me save some HP. So this is something you're gonna do a lot when you're playing this comp. You might, you know, buy a random Akali, a random, you know, MF, or some other headliner which is not the highest priority. Usually if you buy like a Poppy or something. But yeah, because you're just not hitting and you need some way to not take, you know, 20 damage every round. Sure, it's definitely not the preferred headliner I wanted, but you know, if I didn't buy it, I'd probably take a 5 loss there. We actually found a Kiana here. Definitely should have picked that up actually. And of course we're gonna slam Even Shroud. Just because we need that anti-armor. We're basically full AD. What I should have done here is switch side on my Ezreal and MF. Because Ezreal needs to be hitting the targets with anti-armor. So a bit poor positioning from my part. But we have Lucian attacking the right side, so that's good. Ezreal actually dashed into the good side as well, so we wind up not being punished. But this guy actually seems pretty strong. Olaf is really good. And the Kayle as well, right? And we don't have enough damage to beat him just yet. So the good thing about my spot is I managed to get some duplicators. I think it was from spoils. I'm not sure though. Might have been the portal, don't remember. So if we just find one more copy of like Ezreal, we can actually manage to get a 2-star, which is actually really big, right? So we found a Poppy headliner. I sold my old headliner before the minion, or at the minion round, so I was able to get a free headliner shop. And since I'm so poor right here, I'm gonna have to buy this Poppy, because we're probably not gonna hit what we want, and Poppy is one of the best ones we can get in a spot like that, right? And I need to roll for another set because we didn't have that. So we got the heart still in again. And here I have 2 here. So we're gonna slam a blue buff on Ezreal and Infinite Edge as well. And honestly, even though I have a Lucian too, I feel like Ezreal is just better. Because, I don't know, this Lucian unit doesn't feel like it, you know? So I'm gonna slam items on Ezreal and we're gonna, you know, get him 2-starred sooner or later. But I had to use one duplicate on Zed there so we don't take infinite damage. And at this spot I'm just rolling for like 1 Ezreal. Luckily we got the Hodge there on Zed, so it's pretty much Biz on Zed. Maybe not the perfect items, but we got the Edge of Night, we got healing, we got damage. So Zed is gonna do a lot of work right here. You see him just one-tapping everyone. That's really what you need in this board. You need 2 stars and then you're basically set. So, but it's not easy to hit these 2 stars, let me tell you. Here we actually found Zac, so we're gonna put that in right there. We needed EDM on Zed, and we also get Bruce Rain, so it was a bit better than Poppy, so we're gonna slot that Zac in right here. Just because Zed is basically all my damage right now, so getting EDM on him is gonna buff that a lot. But that was a big buy right there, so we might actually lose it still. It's gonna be close. At least, I mean, at least we have last stand here, so all hope is not lost. And boom, I just found an Illaoi right here, and since I'm so short on gold and, you know, I'm just gonna have to pick that up even though I don't like need a Hodge right now. We're just gonna need some good units to put in because I'm not finding any right. So I'm rolling here because if I find an Illaoi or an Ezreal, I can use my other duplicator on the other one. And luckily I found an Illaoi here, so my roll down paid off. So I'm gonna pray I win this fight and then I can basically win out the game because I hit 2-star Illaoi and 2-star Ezreal. So you should always roll before you use the duplicators. Just take this for example. I rolled a hit Illaoi or I hit an Ezreal, so that's a 2-star Ezreal, and then I can save my duplicator for, you know, Illaoi. And we actually managed to win this fight with Ezreal 1, and with last stand, we're Giga Cap right here. We bought Ezreal, boom. 2-star Zed, 2-star Ezreal, 2-star tanks, a random Lucian MF for Yas. Looking pretty good, so this is basically as capped we're gonna be, more or less. And we also have Heartsteel, you know, using us up even more. But yeah, this is pretty much the board you wanna hit. And if you hit it, you're in a really good spot. So we're always gonna cash out here. Can't raise the stakes with 1 HP, right? That's just crazy. So we're gonna try to go level 9 now. So I can slot in a random Yori, Poppy, Ziggs, or Bard for Moshers as well. And we actually found both of them. We're gonna sell them for Econ though, because yeah, we're gonna need the gold if we're even gonna be able to go level 9. And here you see me scouting. I want Zed to run up on that Jinx. Also have Even Shroud on the same units that Zed and Ezreal is hitting, so that's why I position like this. And since we have a 2-star Lucian, just getting a random, you know, Runas on him is gonna be good, give us more damage. It's a 2-star 5 cost, so itemizing him is always good here. You see, when you spike in this comp, you spike really hard, right? You go from losing to just completely demolishing. So here we got the top 4 secured. We were able to hit our units, luckily, even though we were contested. And against this guy, he also had his backline on the right. So I'm gonna position the same way here. Try to get Zed to reach tail, and Ezreal helping him to get through that front line as well. And boom, Ezreal got a big ulti off, and Zed's running onto the backline, killing the carry. And from this spot, we basically win outright. Boom. Big. So, yeah. I guess the hard part about this comp is also just not getting Dizzy right. Because compared to other comps, you can play this comp in a lot of different ways. You don't have to play a certain set of units compared to like, I don't know, Misfortune Bard Gas comp or like Seraphine reroll. It's pretty simple. You play basically the same way every game, more or less. Meanwhile here, you're gonna have to flex a bit more, and when there's so many possibilities, you know, maybe you get a cash out as well, you get a bit nervous, you know, get dizzy, so you need to make sure, you know, you don't get dizzy, right? Try to keep a cool head, and usually it works out pretty well if you have a clear plan of what you're gonna do and what options you have. But it's really easy to get dizzy, so, you know, try the best to avoid that. And here, since same story, Lucian has 2 items, is 3 stars, so I really want the last item on him. I consider going Emo Emblem. If it was a Yin instead of a Lucian, it's definitely, you know, Emo Emblem there, but I figured Lucian doesn't scale that well with mana. He just wants raw damage compared to like Yin. So I'm actually gonna take a Deathblade over, you know, the Emo Emblem. Just, I think it's gonna make him have higher DPS than Emo Emblem. But if also Yin there, it's definitely Emo Emblem. Then he's able to cast Infinite. And we actually off the spoils with a Kiana here, which is really good. So I can play her over Yone. We just need to get the last cash out here, greed it out, and then we slot in Kiana. And that's basically our strongest board. Boom, you see, after you're cash outing and, you know, all of that, you're so strong. Boom, we're gonna beat that guy. Get our last cash out right here. Let's see what I get. 100 hearts, maybe we get something. Get a free item, a Reforger. I mean, static, we have full AD, so that doesn't make sense. Get a random Deathblade, which is not bad. You just need to find someone to play it on, and that is gonna have to be Kiana, right? So not the best Kiana items, but you're gonna have to make do with what you have, I guess. So we're gonna slam that on her, gonna reforge that. Did it, got a random guard breaker, sure, slam it. We can't be picky about our items here, right? So you see this guy's the guy contesting us. He also has Ezreal 2, and he did some big cash out, but he actually has 2 econ augments, which is one of the reasons why I beat this guy. I have 2 combat augments, so I'm actually a lot stronger than him. And since we got a lot of duplicators, we were able to get some 2-star 5 costs, so we're able to cap higher than that guy. So onto the finals here. We're just gonna see if the dragon can give us something. I'm probably looking for some healing or Age of Night on Kiana. That's what I'm looking for mainly. And we're just gonna roll here, try to see if we can switch out maybe Set or switch out some random unit. Sure, I'll buy this Zona in case I hit a random headliner and I can swap out some units. And we actually hit Yorick here, so I mean, Yorick is gonna be better than Zac, right? So we're slotting him out. Might have been a mistake putting in Zona, but Yorick's definitely the play. Gonna give the Yorick some healing as well. And the itemization just make him stay alive to get that ghoul on the board. And at this point, I mean, I'm just giga capped, so it's pretty much how the games go. You just use up like crazy, and you get some really fun first. So try this comp out. But thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe. I appreciate it and it helps me out. Peace out, guys.